You know, corruption at its finest. Corruption at its finest. They couldn't take the loss. What's up, man? I know y'all see you. I don't want to touch that. I don't know what you're doing with your hands, buddy. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna look past Broly. Hey, that Austrian don't help you block a left hook, bro. You got hit like 1,000 times. Okay, so you got dribbled off the canvas.
Oscar De La Hoya hinted that the Haney-Garcia rematch may never happen, suggesting Jose Ramirez will spoil the plans.
You don't recover from that. It's just impossible. It's hard. But look, it's still going to be a good fight. He took a year off, rested his body, his mind, his soul. Maybe he'll surprise us all.
De La Hoya recently made waves in the boxing world with his bold take on an anticipated rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. According to the Hall of Fame fighter turned promoter, fans shouldn't expect Garcia versus Haney 2 to happen, not because of promotional hurdles or Garcia's past issues with drug testing, but because De La Hoya believes Devin Haney won't make it out of his next fight victorious. In fact, he's convinced that Jose Ramirez will upset Haney, stopping any chances of a highly promoted rematch this year. He said, "How does Haney come back mentally after a devastating loss to Ryan Garcia? I feel that Ramirez is going to do a number on Haney. We're not going to see Garcia Haney 2. I believe Ramirez will stop the show." De La Hoya, who promotes Garcia, Ramirez, and Arnold Barboza Jr., is deeply involved in the upcoming fight card titled Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, taking place May 2nd in Times Square, New York. The event will be broadcast on DAZN pay-per-view and represents the first ever U.S. card promoted by the Ring magazine. The lineup is star-studded. Ryan Garcia will headline the event in a welterweight matchup against Rolando Raleigh Romero. In the co-main event, Haney is set to face off against Jose Ramirez at a catchweight of 144 pounds. Kicking off the triple header, Teofimo Lopez Jr. will defend his WBO and Ring magazine junior welterweight titles against the unbeaten Barboza. The promotional buzz surrounding this event is intense, especially with a possible Garcia-Haney rematch tentatively scheduled for October, assuming both fighters win. However, De La Hoya has made it clear he doesn't see that happening. He doesn't just question Haney's readiness, he doubts his mental strength after the brutal beating he took from Garcia last April. Though the result was ruled a no contest due to Garcia testing positive for Ostarine, a banned performance-enhancing drug, Haney still suffered 3 knockdowns and was visibly shaken throughout that bout. Oscar further said, "My expectation for Ryan is as if he didn't take a day off. I think Ryan is so determined to come back and show the world who he really is, and that sometimes takes over. Your mentality sometimes takes over your physical body. Meaning, when he goes inside that ring, it doesn't matter how long he's been off. It's going to matter how mentally stable he is, how much he wants it. Believe me when I say this, Ryan Garcia wants it more than ever." In De La Hoya's eyes, Haney hasn't mentally or physically recovered. He even went so far as to label the undefeated champion a shot fighter. He cited Haney's demeanor and claimed the young boxer looks lost, lacking the mental edge that once made him one of boxing's brightest stars. De La Hoya believes Ramirez, with his relentless volume punching and powerful left hook, has all the tools to finish what Garcia started.
You know, obviously, we have to deal with this frivolous lawsuit that they slapped on us, but that's all it is noise. That's all it is. How can you sue somebody that beat the crap out of you? You know, it's like, it just doesn't make sense. And
would you as a fighter ever even consider doing that back in your heyday?
No, what I would do is call that fighter out, get back in the ring, and beat his ass.
Is that the biggest rematch of 2025, Haney Garcia? Biggest fight?
I don't think so, because I believe that Devin Haney is a shot fighter.
Do you think he'll take the fight if it's offered?
Of course, because it's for a lot of money.
Despite being a heavy betting underdog, Ramirez is entering the ring with full belief in his ability to shake up the division. He may have lost a close decision to Barboza in his last outing, but that fight was in Saudi Arabia under less than ideal conditions. According to Ramirez, the empty crowd and sterile environment didn't help him bring his best. This time the setting is Times Square, and Ramirez expects to have a loud, energetic Latino crowd behind him, something he believes will work in his favor.
You know, the biggest mistake that he does is sometimes he relies so much on the shoulder roll and wants to stay there, you know, and he gets touched.
What Jose Ramirez said, he was singing to the choir for me. He said that Devin Haney sits in it too long though, right? And he dips right to the same side. That's why I thought Tank would knock him out. If you got a great left, He gonna dip right there. Floyd leaning back and to the side. He goes straight down and bam! That's how Ryan just caught him, right? So now that after what Ryan did, all his contemporaries, everybody's around him, and just picking these things apart now. And I said that, you get whipped like that, somebody's gonna try to lift your skirt. And Jose Ramirez, he has the confidence now, like, yo, you can punch through that, you can do this, you can do that. And then you have a great trainer like Robert Garcia, who's seeing all of that. He's seeing all of that.
Ramirez didn't know all the backstage negotiations that led to him landing the Haney fight, but he acknowledged the possibility that his team might have undersold his abilities during talks. Regardless, once the contract was signed, Ramirez said Golden Boy Promotions told him clearly, this is a fight he can win. His promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, also emphasized that Ramirez was his first choice when asked to supply an opponent for Haney. The reasoning was simple. Ramirez's pressure fighting style and left hook matched up well against a potentially vulnerable Haney. De La Hoya said most people look at Ramirez's recent loss and write him off, but they don't take the time to look at what makes him dangerous.
Another thing that I was extremely interested in when Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney was announced, if you can match his height and reach him, I was very interested to see how his defense works when you can reach him. Linares could reach him, but Linares was getting long in the tooth because he couldn't start strong. It was like he's like a Buick. He started to get warmed up, and he touched him, and then towards the end of the fight, Linares was getting busy. But the point is, Jose Ramirez is 5'10", he's a big kid, and now he's fighting with something else. The blueprint, the know-how. We saw him rock, and we saw him drop.
Training camp, Ramirez has been working under the guidance of veteran trainer Robert Garcia. Ramirez admitted he's been refining his approach, recognizing that simply relying on a couple of punches won't be enough against someone like Haney. Instead, he's focused on maintaining constant pressure, staying busy with combinations, and making use of his speed and explosiveness. Garcia has praised Ramirez's overall development, especially his uppercut and body work, which he believes will give Haney real trouble. While many in the boxing world might still favor Haney's skill set, others aren't so sure. Notably, Arnold Barboza Jr., who defeated Ramirez in 2024, believes Ramirez is the worst possible comeback opponent for Haney. Barboza, who opens the card in a title fight against Teofimo Lopez, doesn't buy the narrative that Haney will easily outbox Ramirez. In fact, he thinks Ramirez will win, largely due to Haney's compromised state after the Garcia bout. Barboza said, I think Ramirez is gonna beat Haney. I really do think so. I think that's a bad fight for Haney. I think that's a perfect fight for Ramirez. Haney hasn't fought since that no contest with Garcia. Although the official record doesn't reflect a loss, the impact of that night is hard to erase. Haney appeared dazed, hurt, and visibly shaken for most of the fight, and despite removing the L from his record, those visuals remain fresh in the minds of fans and pundits. That's why Barboza believes the timing and opponent are not ideal for Haney's return. Still, Haney and his camp have embraced the challenge. His father and trainer, Bill Haney, has dismissed the idea that they're taking Ramirez lightly. In fact, he insists that they chose Ramirez precisely because he was one of the toughest options available. The idea, he says, is to prove that Haney is still among the best and not looking for soft touches. In a sport where many young fighters protect their records, Haney has consistently faced top-tier opposition, beating names like Jorge Linares, Vasily Lomachenko.
Yes, sir.
Ryan talked to me.
According to Bill Haney, the choice of Ramirez also serves a specific strategic purpose. Since Garcia's main weapon was a vicious left hook, facing Ramirez, another left hook specialist, gives Devin the chance to prepare and adjust. He's using this fight as a stepping stone, not just to a Garcia rematch, but to solidify his place among boxing's all-time greats.
Press conference that Todd Grissom was one-sided and he didn't describe Devin the way that he was supposed to describe him as the youngest undisputed champion and with the legacy, number 9 on the pound-for-pound list, with not only just, he has a granite chin. Have you seen anyone get up from a Ryan Garcia left hook 3 times off the canvas? And that Todd Grissom had to ask about his chin, question his chin. He was everything wrong at the press conference. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to not get the voice that's really going to tell the real in Devin's corner. They want to separate it and they want to try to destroy the brand, and it's not going to work. May 2nd, Devin is going to put belt to ass to Jose Ramirez, and I guarantee you that.
There's also a public sentiment issue weighing against Haney. At recent press events in New York and Los Angeles, crowds booed him for his ongoing legal battle with Garcia, alleging battery and emotional distress following their controversial fight. Ramirez said those types of post-fight lawsuits don't sit well with boxing fans, pointing to how Miguel Cotto handled a similar situation with Antonio Margarito. Cotto didn't sue, but took his revenge in the ring, earning greater respect from fans. Ramirez believes Haney missed a chance to do the same, and that the crowd support in Times Square will reflect that. For Ramirez, getting this opportunity feels surreal. He compared it to winning a golden ticket, being one of just 6 fighters chosen for this high-profile, first-of-its-kind outdoor boxing event in Times Square. And while he respects Haney's accomplishments, he's preparing to face the best version of him, undefeated, focused, and dangerous. That way, if he wins, there can be no excuses. Ramirez insists that one fight can break a fighter, especially in a mentally demanding sport like boxing. He plans to find out if Haney has truly recovered or if the scars of the Garcia fight will show themselves again. If Haney isn't fully back, Ramirez plans to take full advantage and seize the moment.
No, I'm not gonna test his chin. Of course I'm gonna. You know what I mean?
Do you think like he will actually not be able to get up from your punch?
Well, I feel like if I hit anybody from the, from my weight class, or even all the way to like with the 160s, if I hit him with a solid shot right in the chin, I think anybody could go down. It's boxing. 8-ounce gloves.
Test his chin. I understand what you mean by chin. I got up every single time. I guess somebody that was on 4 times. So that's your attitude.
I'm sure if I land a solid one with Devin Haney, I'm gonna put him down.
Yeah, my dad's gonna take the W.
Meanwhile, Robert Garcia is optimistic. He believes the New York crowd, especially with its strong Mexican presence, will give Ramirez an extra boot. After the quiet, empty feel of the Saudi Arabian venues, Times Square will offer an electric atmosphere, and Ramirez thrives in that kind of energy. Garcia said, Ramirez has to stay active. The whole boxing world knows that. It's a great opportunity for him. Yes, they might have taken the fight because of Jose's last performance, but Haney's last performance was a lot worse. While the Garcia vs. Romero main event will attract its share of attention, all eyes will be on how Haney responds to adversity. The outcome of Haney vs. Ramirez could either set the stage for a massive rematch in Saudi Arabia or derail it completely, and if Oscar De La Hoya's prediction holds true, the latter might be what boxing fans get. Coming to the highly anticipated rematch between Ryan Garcia vs. Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis spoke candidly about the first fight and how it played out, reflecting on the bout before his recent controversial draw with Lamont Roach Jr. Davis said Haney had the upper hand early on. According to him, Haney was in control at the start, but made a crucial mistake in how he approached the rest of the fight. Instead of maintaining his boxing and distance, he tried to press too hard and stay in the pocket, a choice Davis believes cost him the fight. Davis said, if he be able to slip the hook, he'll be able to go ahead and win. Haney had him. In the beginning of the fight, he had him. He just tried to press the issue and stay right there. Davis admitted that once Garcia began to take over, he couldn't help but feel happy about the outcome, especially because of Haney's father and trainer, Bill Haney. Known for his vocal confidence, Bill's personality didn't sit well with Davis, so when Garcia landed those knockdowns, Davis celebrated. In fact, he said he slapped his TV in excitement when Haney hit the canvas, joking that he should have bet on the fight because he was that confident something big big was going to happen. For Davis, it wasn't just about who won, it was personal satisfaction, seeing someone he and others in the boxing community viewed as overconfident take a hard fall.
He was smoking everything, like, come on, bro. And Haney had him. In the first beginning of the fight, he had him. He just tried to press the issue and stay right there.
Do you hope that Haney wins those just so you could get that fight with him and kind of like settle that, the history that you and Haney have though? Do you want that fight?
No lie, bro. Off of that situation, I really was happy that Brian whooped his ass because it's like, bro, they was like, his pops, oh my God. Crazy. I was happy. I think I broke the TV. I slapped it so hard when he got dropped.
On the other hand, Juan Manuel Marquez took a more respectful and measured approach when analyzing the potential rematch. Marquez, who is no stranger to rivalries and rematches himself, most notably his 4 legendary bouts with Manny Pacquiao, acknowledged both fighters' talent. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, Marquez said the matchup would be a difficult one for both Garcia and Haney. He sees Devin as a good fighter, but views Ryan as a great one, subtly suggesting Garcia might have the edge again. Though he stopped short of making a firm prediction, Marquez's tone leaned in favor of Garcia winning the rematch based on his performance in the first meeting and the potential momentum he now carried.
And the people, for me, I would like to see that because I think Devin Haney is a good fighter, Ryan Garcia is a great fighter, and then I think it would be a great rematch.
Who do you give the edge to early?
Who do
you think wins in the beginning? Who do you give the edge to in that fight? Who do you think wins in the rematch?
Will be a tough fight. It's a difficult fight for both fighters, but I think Ryan Garcia against, I don't know, is another top fight for both.
Meanwhile, Claressa Shields offered a passionate and emotional perspective, siding strongly with Haney, especially from a fighter's ethical standpoint. Shields, who has never shied away from speaking her mind, expressed serious disappointment with Garcia's behavior before, during, and after the first fight. She criticized Garcia's conduct regarding the failed VADA tests and the lack of accountability he showed after testing positive for Ostarine, a banned substance. For Shields, this wasn't just about a fight, it was about what fighters endure mentally and physically, especially after taking damage under unfair conditions. She said, "Devin is so much better than me, man. As far as character, every time I see Ryan, I would have fought him. You used drugs to cheat against me. It happened on national TV. You mocked me. You laughed about it. You didn't take any accountability. If that was to happen to me, I would fight that person every chance I got. In the rematch, I hope that Ryan goes through VADA testing like Devin, and they can have a clean fight and we can see who the better fighter is." Shields commended Haney for keeping his composure through it all. In her eyes, Haney not only had to endure a physically punishing night, being knocked down multiple times and absorbing damage over 12 rounds, but also had to face the fallout of a tainted result. Despite that, Shields admired Haney's self-belief, noting how he still carried himself with confidence and pride. She questioned whether she could do the same if she were in Haney's shoes, especially with the kind of public humiliation and emotional stress that followed.
How do you see the third fight? Do you think a third fight is even needed between them?
Yeah, I mean, we all like trilogies.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great if it was 1-1, but...
Well, that's why I mentioned that.
It's 2-0.
Yeah.
Listen, this is my only thing, right? Amanda feels she won the first 2 fights. So what does that mean? That means she's not going to change up anything for the trilogy, or she doesn't feel like she needs to. Me, if the judges gave somebody a fight over me twice, I would say, okay, evidently they're seeing something that me and my team are not seeing. So we need somebody who sees what the judges saw to help me to win the trilogy. Because it's not like it's not a winnable fight. It's a close fight every time they fight. It's a great fight. It's a very entertaining fight. Things have to be done differently, but it's about if her mental actually wants to accept that, hey,
At just 26, Haney remains one of the most accomplished young fighters in the sport, but in a game where momentum and mentality are everything, May 2nd could prove whether he's still climbing or if his best days are already behind him. Jose Ramirez, on the other hand, sees this fight as the moment to rewrite his legacy, and he's planning to make the most of it. So, what are your thoughts about this? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.